Okay, this is a quick demonstration of the new Morph feature in Angel plugin. The Morph feature allows you to swap between assets without having to go into the menu. It is ideal for situations like Druid Wild Shape or Mage's Polymorph, but it can be even used for things like just a regular character, having a sword option and a bow option. If you want to kind of switch between those to indicate what weapon you're using, you can use Morphs for that. I'm sure there's a ton of other ways you can make use of Morphs, but those are the common ones. Now, I will preface this that right now the Morph functionality is very basic. There's no fancy UI. There's no selection of which Morphs you want. You need to cycle through them. And they only work with Angel assets. So for your core assets, you still need to use the core Morph functionality. For Angel assets, you use the Angel Morph functionality. And unfortunately, at the moment, they don't mix and match. All right, with that out of the way, let's get started. So let's add a asset first. So I'm going to open up my Angel window, and I'm going to select this gnome right here. Okay, so we have a gnome. What you may not know is that this gnome is a master of disguise. So he can turn into like any of these variations here. So let's add morphs for that so that we can easily swap between that when he dons his various disguises. So how do we do that? We start by making sure that the asset that we want to put morphs on is selected, and once again needs to be an Angel asset. Okay, once we got that, we can open up the Angel menu if it is not already open. And now we're going to select from that menu, just like if we were about to bring out a new mini, but with one change. Before we click, we are going to hold the right control key and the right shift key. And while holding that, we're going to click to add the morph. So now we can see that a message comes up showing that we added a morph, and it didn't spawn a character like it normally would. So basically the right control and shift combination is what tells Angel that you're talking about a morph and not a new creature. Now you might ask yourself, why two keys? That sounds complicated. Well, from the Calp and Calpy days, we found out that some users triggered the functionality unexpectedly because they were holding down one of the modifier keys for basic Talespire functionality, and then got a surprise when their asset spawned in a different way than they expected. So by moving to a two-key system, now it should be quite impossible for the user to trigger that functionality accidentally. In order to trigger it, they will actively have to hold down both keys at the same time in order to get that functionality to go. So hopefully that will prevent any accidental triggerings. Okay, so we've added one morph here. We're going to want to add some more. As you can see, when you add a morph, it doesn't automatically switch to that morph. It will just keep the state that we're in, so that allows you to add multiple morphs without having to constantly come back. So let's add some other ones. I'm going to add that one. I'm going to add that one. I'm going to add that one. And I'm going to add that one. Okay, so now we can put the Angel menu away. I mean, you don't need to, but you can. And once we want to swap morphs, we just cycle through them using the key, which by default is F11. So there's the one disguise, there's disguise 2, there's the fancy guy in the suit, and then there's the 2 overalls. And then it returns back to the first stage. So you can see now we've added these morphs, and we can easily morph through them. Now again, no UI for that. You can't select which one you want. you need to cycle through them, but hey, better than nothing. Now, obviously, the next question is, how do you remove them? Well, you remove them the same way you do auras and effects, and that is basically to reselect them in the Angel menu, and that will remove them if they're already present. So to do that, I'm going to open up my Angel menu. My gnome is already selected. And now, again, because we are talking about a morph, we want to remove a morph. We don't want to spawn a new character. We need to hold down that right control and shift key to say, I'm talking about a morph. And then we just select the morph from the library, and that indicates that it's been removed. So I'm going to remove 2 here. And now if we cycle through our assets, we can see we get, it's no longer, this one is there. We've got one gone straight to that one, and now we should miss the suit guy because he's gone now too. Yep, we've gone to overalls. So that is how you remove it, just by reselecting the morph from the menu. It removes it from the list, and just be careful when you are removing a morph. Make sure that you're selected on something else than that morph, because that can cause problems. So yeah, when you're removing morphs, it is better to not have that morph selected.